Are you ready to be that bitch? I'm like, of course you are. Welcome to the show with real stories from women who chose their highest vision and never looked back. That bitch didn't happen overnight, but she was always on her way. Today, you guys, we are welcoming an absolute icon, Melanie Peralta, to That Bitch podcast. Melanie is a generational empowerment and lifestyle enrichment coach and founder of the Womanhood and Humanhood series podcast. As a former head coach for, you guys, I shit you not, Tony Robbins and Dean Graziosi, Melanie has impacted thousands of lives globally and continues her mission of increasing the quality of human existence one creation at a time. Welcome, Melanie. I am so excited to have you on the That
Thank
Bitch
you.
podcast. How are you today, Mel?
It's been a that bitch type of day, actually. So this
Love that.
so this is right on time. Yeah, like I'm in the thick of a parasite cleanse right now, so I'm
Okay.
having to be on this like super rigid, disciplined, devoted regimen. I went to my strength training this morning, came home, got ready, mom, dog mom, and all the things. So let's run it.
Okay, this is a that bitch moment for sure. A parasite cleanse in and of itself, that bitch right there. Okay, let's just call that what it is. But oh my God, I love this because I actually met Melanie at an in-person event last year at the Dope CEOs conference. And I heard Melanie talk and I heard what she had to pull forward. And I loved her energy. To be honest, literally, I'll never forget it. You like came out to gangster rap music and you were dancing. And I was like, okay, this bitch and I could be friends. We could totally fucking jive.
Yeah, that's my intro song. Still Dre. No, nobody is expecting me to come out to a Dr. Dre song as the closing speaker. Like
No,
nobody.
no. Quite literally love it though. Absolutely love it. And I loved her
Thanks.
story. Like I genuinely, Melanie, when I heard about your story and what you've been through, that like quite literally you're the epitome of what that bitch means. And
Thank
basically,
you.
I want to pull forward a couple of that bitch moments. So Melanie, I had her fill out a little fun form for me about what she sees are really powerful that bitch moments in her life. And before we get into the top three, I feel like we can't get away from your fucking childhood because your entire childhood, the mere fact that you survived what you survived was a that bitch moment. So do you want to give us like a little synopsis of what it was like to be Melanie as a kid?
Yeah. So I come from a really small copper mining town here in Arizona called Superior. Small towns, a lot of times there ain't nothing to do, so people just end up, drinking, using drugs and stuff. And so a lot of that is happening in my town. And both of my parents were addicts and alcoholics. Both of them were incarcerated at different points in my life. And my dad actually ended up getting full custody of me when he got out of prison when I was about 1.5, because my mom was still using.
Oh,
And
wow.
so then my dad raised me all by himself for my whole life. And my mom was
Wow.
in and out of my life. I have a great relationship with her now, but I'm definitely my father's daughter. There's a picture of him right here behind me.
Love.
And yeah, so I come from generations of dysfunction, addiction, alcoholism, and I'm the pattern breaker in my
Clearly.
family.
Clearly.
Yeah.
So it's like what I love about this is one of the lines that you wrote like in your actual form. You said the fact that I am who I am today is actually a miracle.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's one of these things that I say to most people. It's like, I know, Melanie, you don't know much about my background, but let's just say I too, it does not make sense for me to be in the situation that I'm in, right? And what
Yeah.
I love to say to people is all the time, it's you guys, you don't even realize that all of us are walking miracles. The shit that's been thrown at us so many different times in our life, like it literally doesn't fucking make sense for us to be where we're at today. But
Yeah.
to me, to be honest, it's almost like you became that bitch because you actually started to own that. It's like you started to see that, hey, like I shouldn't even be in this situation. And I think that this is a epic aspect because one of your next that bitch moments, you're talking about leaving the music industry. So like talk to me about how you went from this childhood being in this experience to stepping into the music industry in the first place. What did that look like for you?
Yeah. So have you seen the movie Selena?
Yes, duh.
Okay, so like you'd be surprised. Sometimes I ask people that and they're like, "No, I've never seen it." I'm like, "Who? Well, you've been living under a rock?"
Literally.
But so my dad was like Selena's dad. There was a Selena moment in my childhood where I I got a solo for my choir in school, and my dad and all of his skydiver friends went because my dad's a skydiver. Um, and everybody was there, and I had the solo and I sang, and everyone was like, Tony, why didn't you tell us that Melanie could sing? And my dad was like, I didn't even know what the heck. Like, I had this voice. I was keeping it to myself. I was very shy with my gifts when I was younger because I was shamed for my gifts in my hometown. Everybody
Mm.
always was like, oh, you think you're better than everybody because you could sing and stuff like that. So I really like dimmed that.
Yep.
But when my dad heard that I could sing, he was like, "Oh, you can sing. Do you want to sing?" And I was like, "Yeah, I want to be a singer." And my dad's like, "Bet, let's run it."
Oh, I love
So
that.
next thing you know, my dad's Selena's dad, literally like booking me for quinceañeras, lowrider shows. I was singing Amazing Grace at funerals for people that I didn't even know, girl.
God.
Like I was singing at the MLK festival. I was singing at church parade, like all types of stuff.
Yeah.
And I just my dad got me out there so much that I built a reputation, and next thing you know, I'm in the studio working with professional producers and stuff, and somebody from Atlantic Records comes in.
Wait, okay, how old were you when all this was happening?
So that I was in like 5th grade, 4th or 5th grade.
Shut
I was in the
up.
4th. Yeah, I was in the 4th grade when the choir thing happened. And then
Okay.
ever since then, it was like every opportunity that I could sing somewhere, sing something, I was doing it. And then I was probably about 15, 16 when I finally came in contact with somebody from Atlantic Records. I was
Wow.
at yeah, a professional studio down in Mesa just recording a song that I wrote, and somebody came in and they were like, "Who is this? Who's the manager? Who can I speak to?" And I was like, "Hi, it's me. I don't have a manager, but that's my dad." And they were
Oh
like,
god.
"Okay, can we sit in on her session? Like, did she write this? This is amazing." Next thing you know, we're getting flown to Atlanta, working with these people from Atlantic Records. Then I got signed into back then, they don't do this anymore. The music industry doesn't do this anymore, but back
Sure.
then they did artist development. So if a label believed in you and they thought you had potential, then they would essentially invest in you
Oh, wow.
and develop you and, make your music and get you a performance coach and a vocal coach and all that stuff. And you were officially in artist development, and that was like the goal to getting a project that was deal worthy essentially.
Yep.
So all through high school I was in artist development with Atlantic Records, but my dad was committed to me making sure that I finished high school, so I would fly back and forth from here to Atlanta all through high
What
school.
in the hell? Okay, so, like, this is also okay, this is this entire situation is so fucking wild to me because it's like, again, I think so many people that would have grown up in a similar situation to you may have not seen the potentiality, the possibility. They may not have gone after what they go after. I mean, the reality is we know that most people, when they're faced with these types of hardship situations, born in an environment that maybe isn't the most conducive to a child, oftentimes they end up going down a different path, but not you. Like,
Well, that's funny that you say that because at that time, even though I was doing all the music industry stuff,
yep.
girl, I was partying my ass off in
Ooh,
between then. I still had, at the time, I really felt like I lived a double life. I really did.
really?
Like, oh, yeah. So I had this side of me that was the music industry singer, songwriter, artist side of me.
Yep.
And then I had the turn up, like crazy, wild, reckless raver girl side of me. So I started raving when I was 13. I started,
Holy shit.
dude, I started raving and I started doing ecstasy and all the, rave things
Yep.
when I was really, really young. So it's like I had this side of me that because of my dad always spoke life into me. My dad always believed me. He was a skydiver, so he showed me the possibilities of limitlessness and all of
Yep.
that. But then on the other side of that, I still came from so much trauma, and like I when I would go visit my mom and I would go to my hometown and I was exposed to some horrible things, man.
Yeah.
Like the worst of the worst, like domestic violence, pedophiles in the family, drug addicts, like just everything, you know?
Yep.
So it was like there was this one side of me that was like, I know I'm gifted and I know I have this power and I know I have this potential. But then there's this other side of me that's like, this traumatized, damaged girl. And so I really was chasing fame for to seek value and significance and to try to rise out of that. But
Yep.
I was reckless, girl. Like I
Mm.
was a wild little thing for
Yeah.
real, for real. The fact that I'm even still alive after some of the things
Yeah.
that I did back then, for real, is like beyond me. Like my angels are crazy. So I real
Yeah.
I
There's a purpose
definitely
for you,
lived
Melanie.
yeah, like I definitely lived a double life for a lot of my life.
Wow.
And it felt like my music career was very separate from my personal life. And even just the version of myself that my dad knew was very different than the side of me that he never saw when I was out raving until 6 in the morning and stuff like that.
So do you think, like, just out of curiosity, because like I love to like pick people's brains in this situation, right? It's like, okay, in for all intents and purposes, it's almost like you're seeing like a light at the end of the tunnel. You're getting this like music industry, you're moving in this direction, like so much potentiality and possibility is coming at you. And in the same breath, you're like playing into old patterns and programming and like things that were modeled to you around you. What made you snap into like, "Okay, no, wait a minute. I can't keep doing this." Like, where did we become that bitch for ourselves in this moment?
Yeah, so crazy. I went through all this stuff. My deal with Atlantic got ruined just because of music business politics. I spent all this time making this project, all these songs that
Yeah.
I ended up not being able to ever put out and not being able to do anything with.
Wow.
I was shattered, girl. I
Yeah.
was shattered. My dad was pissed. I ended up firing my manager, all this stuff. And then when I fired my manager, I was like, well, I'm just going to move back home. Because when I graduated high school, I moved to Atlanta, like
Okay.
officially.
Okay,
So I
yeah.
was like, I'm just going to go back home. I got to just like take a break from this. It was just too much.
Yeah.
So I get back home and crazy Mel, reckless Mel, I ended up finding my way into managing an escort service.
Shut
I
the
was
front door.
I swear to God, girl, I was 19 and I started managing an escort service. I just through series of situations, I came across this woman who was an escort. She was a busy escort and she needed management and she was willing to pay me cash. And the gangster hustler, Melanie, the girl who came out to Dr. Dre, was
Yeah.
like, I'll manage you, you know?
Shut the at 19 years old.
At 19. Yeah,
Okay. Come
that's who
on.
I was. That's where I was.
Yeah.
Like my morals were very conflicted.
Yeah.
I was, I always had a good heart, like a good soul, but
Yeah.
I I didn't give a fuck.
Yeah. Well,
Like
and it's
like
like you didn't know any better. You know what I mean? Like you only
no,
it was
I
like
knew better. I knew better.
you did? You knew?
Oh,
Okay, so
for
tell me
sure I knew.
more.
No, for sure I knew better. Of course I knew better. But I just didn't care because my moral compass, this was before I had my spiritual awakening. This was before
Ah.
I was the healed version of myself.
Okay.
So I didn't give a fuck. I'm like, I'm not doing it. That's her body, not mine.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
so my morals just weren't, I wasn't solid in that way. You know,
Sure.
I was very selfish. I was very selfish. I was very self centered. I was like, I'm saving up to move to LA. I need to get this money.
Yep.
That's how I felt. So next thing you know, he has these other friends, and next thing you know, I'm just managing all these women. And I'm literally pimping, girl. I'm
Like
calling,
pimping.
like, I'm like, yo, your 2 o'clock's here. Where are you? For real. I
Oh my
swear to
god, Melanie, you
God.
are blowing my mind right now, I'm not gonna lie. When
I
people
know.
hear where you go, like, come on.
I know. I know. Yeah, it was nuts. It was really nuts. And so, long story short, I ended up someone reached out to me from the music industry. I wrote a song with this producer and he played it for the A&R at Sony and they loved it.
Yeah.
So he calls me and he's like, "Hey, the A&R at Sony wants to meet you. I played him this record. Like, can you come to LA next weekend?" I just happen to be going to LA that weekend already for a rave,
Oh my yeah. Yeah, yeah,
for a
yeah.
rave. So I was like, "Yeah, I'm already coming to LA next week. Perfect. Let's do it." So I do that. I go out there. That ends up leading into like a 6-month deal project situation for songwriting.
Wow.
So I get all my money and the money I've been stacking up because I was planning to move to LA anyway. So this opportunity just came perfectly and I moved to LA. So when I moved to LA, I didn't have any more hoes to pimp.
Yep.
I
Yep.
didn't. I didn't. I had like my rent was paid for 6 months. Like I had like a small allowance to live, but
Yeah.
I didn't have money to live the way I wanted to live in LA.
Of course. Of
So
course.
I was like, well, it's LA. I'm like, I can just go to dinner with guys and not have to do anything. Like, that's when you're in that industry,
Yep.
you compromise your integrity and your morals and it.
Yep.
So at the time, I actually had already started dating my son's dad.
Oh,
And
wow.
when I was back in Arizona and he knew that I was managing the girls and everything.
Yep.
So I when I got out there, I was like, well, I could just like go on dinners with guys and make money. So I made a profile. My man comes out to visit me, and like it was right when I made the profile, and I'll never forget this moment. I will never forget this. I go into the shower, I come out the shower, and an email had popped up on my laptop from the website of like my first inquirer, like the first response that I got from my profile, and he saw
Yeah.
it. And I get out the shower and he was like, "What the fuck are you doing?" He was like,
Mm.
"Who are you?" 'Kay.
Mm.
When he asked me that question, it pierced my soul, girl. And I was like, "Who am I? For real? Like, is this really who I am? Is this where I'm willing to go? Like, is this how my dad raised me? Like, what am I doing? What am I thinking? I'm not thinking." And funny enough, that version of me too, like the older version of me, I was not a loyal girl. I was trifling. I cheated
A
on all my boyfriends.
a trifling
I did.
asshole, eh?
For real, I really was. And I
Yeah.
was not faithful. And so at that time, I was not faithful to him.
Yeah.
I went on a couple dates with like this pro baseball player. And it was funny because now in hindsight, I can see that he was an awakened, conscious man. And
Totally.
he liked my personality and he thought I was beautiful. So he asked me out. But when we were on our date, I could now in hindsight, I can see he was looking at me like, "You are so unevolved." And at the end of
Mm.
our date, he was like, "I think you should read this book." And I was like, "Okay." I didn't even read at the
Wait, this
time.
is the pro baseball player?
Yes.
Okay,
This
okay.
was when I was still living in Arizona right before I moved to LA.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. So little rewind. He was like, "I think you should read this book." And I'm like, "Okay, what book is it?" It was The Seven Spiritual Laws of Success by Deepak Chopra. And he was
Yeah,
like, "I think that you would really take a lot away from this book." And I was like, "Okay." I wrote it in my notes in my phone, never intended on reading it.
yeah.
But fast forward to my moment where I'm like, what am I doing?
Who the
Who
fuck
am I?
am I? Yeah.
Yeah. So, I navigate that situation with my man. He leaves and I'm in soul searching mode. And I'm like, where is that book that guy told me to read? Like, where is it? So I look
Wow.
in my notes in my phone, I pull it up and I read the book. Girl, I had never read a personal development anything in my entire life. It
Wow.
rocked my world, Kim, and it
Yeah,
just put me into the personal development world, spirituality, consciousness, and I became a personal development, spiritual consciousness fiend.
yep.
And I just immersed myself. Like, I did not leave my studio apartment for a month unless I had to go to the grocery store or the studio. And I was reading and I was watching documentaries and I was studying and I was learning. And I literally became a whole new person in a matter of 30 days. I was unrecognizable.
Oh my god. Okay, so this is fantastic though, because this is what I'm, like, saying. So it's like, thank you for sharing that, like, the intimate details of everything because it was that moment that somebody reflected back to you that, like, are you even the person that I thought you were? Like, who the fuck are you? What the fuck is
Yeah.
happening that actually made you turn inwards and question yourself, which we all know, at least by we all know. Anybody in the personal development world, coaching world, understands consciousness, understands spirituality or any of it. We know that that's like a catalytic moment. It's a moment that can literally redefine your entire journey if you choose it. Now, that
Right.
bitch always fucking chooses those moments,
Yes.
always chooses those moments. But the
Yes.
first time that you choose that moment, I really feel like your pathway is like you have 2 choices right now. You either keep going down this path or you actually go down this path of alignment that literally that baseball player was like a fucking angel for you dropping
No,
in to read it.
legitimately, I had never been so glad that I had been unfaithful. Like,
That's amazing.
I was like,
That's
I'm so glad
amazing.
I did that.
Yeah.
Oh God.
No, but like, yeah, so like that's that aspect. It's like, okay, so like literally in that moment, it's you became that bitch, and 30 days later, you're unrecognizable. That
Yeah.
that's what I say to a lot of people. It's like, you know how like sometimes people in the personal development world, healing world, I would say, oftentimes are like, this takes so long and your healing journey can be years and it can be this and there's truth to that, but it's also nuance because like some of this is truly just actually anchoring into who you want to be, starting to run down that path. And so much can shift in such a short period of time. So in the 30-day span of you becoming obsessed with who you really could be, becoming that bitch, if you will, what happened on the back end of that? Like now that you're on this new path, where did we go from here?
So the deeper that I dove into consciousness, spirituality, frequencies, quantum physics, like I did it all. I was resenting my role in the music industry. And
Ooh.
I naturally started writing very positive, empowering songs. It
Yep,
was just coming out of me, and I remember going to the studio and uh sharing those songs with my producer, and he was like, "These are dope, but this isn't what the label wants." The label wanted party, turn up, like they wanted club hits, they wanted radio bops, they wanted stuff that I was like, I do not want to contribute to that collective frequency anymore. Like I'm
totally.
so tired of making this type of music. It's just not feeling authentic for me at all, and I'm not going to do it. So, they gave me the opportunity to like record a couple of the songs,
Yep.
and I remember my producer, he was like, "I don't know what's," he didn't know. I didn't really was open with him about what was going on with me, but he was like, "Something's going on with you. Like these records are deep, girl." And he's like, "These are beautiful. Like I'll give them to you. You can use them for your own." But he's like, "These aren't gonna sell. These records are not gonna sell."
How fucked is
So I
that?
was
How
like,
fucked?
"Well, then I'm like, well, I'm done making the other stuff. So I'll, fulfill my contract for the 6 months, and then after that, like I'm done."
Yeah.
So that's what happened. And
Okay, but even that, like, can we just acknowledge that too? Like, this is what I'm saying. That bitch moments, like, once you get on the fucking path, they're everywhere. They're all they're basically decisions that you made that don't make sense. Most people probably would have been like, "Well, fuck it, I'll sell my soul. Fuck it, I'll go against what I have to do or what I believe in or what against my values because this was my dream and this is how you get in and this is what it has to look like." But when you actually start to stand for something and stand against something, swallowing that pill, oh my god, you can't fucking swallow that pill to save your life. You like literally this was your childhood dream. This was your young adulthood dream and in that moment for you to literally be like absolutely not. This is not what's going to change. This isn't going to feed my soul nor is it going to feed the souls of other people on this planet the way that I intend to make an impact. That's a
yeah,
huge that bitch moment. You like literally gave up quote unquote fame. You gave up the reality of being the sought after artist. How like, when you had to make that actual decision to say this once was my dream, but it no longer is in this way, how did that feel?
it was a very easy decision for me on the inside. It was the hardest decision on the outside because everybody was ready and waiting for me to pop off. My
Uh,
dad was devastated, Kim. It was
oh,
his dream too.
yeah,
It was the hardest thing on the planet to let my dad down. But one thing, and I didn't realize this as much until later because I didn't grow up religious.
yeah,
Like, I was raised Catholic, but my dad was a skydiver. We were at the drop zone on the weekends. We were not at church, okay?
yeah,
My
yeah.
nana was a devout Catholic, like insane. She her room looked like the church, okay? So that influence of like a relationship with God was always in my spirit, but I didn't have the rules around it.
Sure.
So I realized looking back in a lot of the pivotal choices that I made, it was because there was this, what felt like this higher force, this greater power that was steering me in a direction. The
Mm,
conviction was beyond my mental comprehension. It always felt bigger than me, always.
mm.
And
But
this
that
was one
still
of
doesn't
those
make it
moments.
but, like, hold on, like, that still doesn't make you know what crazy is about this? Like, I literally resonate so hard with what you're saying here about, like,
Yeah,
feeling like there's a deeper sense, there's a deeper purpose, something is literally it's almost like you know how, like and I guarantee you're gonna understand this, but it's like, you know, how some people will talk about how it's like it's a whisper until all of a sudden it's no longer a whisper, somebody's literally screaming at you, and if you don't follow that, they're gonna push you, right?
yeah,
It's like that aspect, like, it's almost like it's so fucking divine that it's, like, written in the stars, like, there's no path that you cannot be on this path, it has to be this way kinda deal. In the same breath, though, choosing that reality is fucking so hard, and
so hard.
so many people think that it's easy. It's like, "Oh, well, why wouldn't you just choose your highest path? Why wouldn't you that must have been easy for you." And it's like, none of this has been easy, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it was an ego death. It was an identity death. Um, and I remember I'll never forget like sending my dad this message because I just felt this conviction in my spirit that I am meant for so much more and that I am meant to like influence people in a different way. And
Yeah.
this was before I even like thought about throwing events or coaching. It was just, and I still have a picture of this text message that I sent to my dad.
Oh, wow.
And I was pretty much telling him, like, I'm meant for more, dad. I'm meant to do something more important than make music. Like, I'm meant to impact people in a different way. And I know it doesn't make sense right now, but I know that there's something else for me.
Yeah.
And I just have to trust that.
Yeah.
And yeah, and so I did, and, but I wanted to I loved LA, I wanted to stay out there, so eventually my boyfriend, my son's dad, moved out there with me. My dad was like, "No, he should not move out there with you."
Yeah.
And I eventually shortly after that, I got pregnant with my son.
Mm. And
Yeah,
that's
so then that was the real nail in the coffin for my career is what it felt like at that time.
Yeah. Well, and okay, so like I know, so then obviously, so I want to pivot and I want to talk about this like next chapter of your life because now you have your son. Now you're being that bitch because let's talk about that, right? Like being a young mom trying to figure it out in LA, period, right? End of story. Like that's hard fucking work. That's hard fucking work no matter what we say, right?
Yeah.
But then it's like, so how did you go from and I know everybody that's listening right now, they're gonna hear what I'm about to say and be like, what the fuck? How did you go from then being a waitress to being a head coach for Tony Robbins and Dean Graziosi? Like where, how, what reality did that even come from?
Girl, quantum leap, dude. Oh my God. So, long story short, after I had my son, I was inspired to start teaching women what I learned, what helped me heal, what helped me change. We eventually moved back to Arizona because all of our family was here. And I'm just feeling this. I'm a new mom, right? I'm like,
Yeah.
motherhood is so powerful. Like, we shaped the world. I'm like on this mama mission and I'm like I need to teach women what I know. So I
Yeah.
was like I'm going to throw an event Never threw an event ever in my life. I had no money of my own to throw an event. Like all the money that I had left over from the music industry was there to like pay for my life, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
But I was a stay-at-home mom at that time, so I didn't have any new money coming in. Long story short, I was so convicted in creating this event that I started a GoFundMe and I was like, this is who I am. This is what I'm doing. This is why I'm doing it. People donated and I used that money to put towards throwing my first event. It was called the inaugural women's brunch in 2016.
Oh my God.
And this was before like our generation's femme forward movement started. So
Totally.
at the time there was nothing like this here in Arizona,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it grew like wildfire, Kim. Like the first year, I had like 32 women, which I was like, this is cool. I'll do this. Oh, sure, I'll do another one of these.
Yeah.
The next year, I didn't do really any social media marketing. I wasn't a business person. I didn't
Yeah.
know anything. When I was in the music industry, I had managers who dealt with the business. I just
Yeah.
got to be the artist. That's it. So I threw my event next year, tripled my guest count.
Oh, damn. That bitch. Yes.
Girl, in so I was like, okay, this is something. So I started doing the annual women's brunch. And in 3 years, we had hundreds of women coming to my annual women's brunch. And the company at the time was called Woman to Woman,
Yep.
and it just took on a life of its own. And it
Ugh,
would have been the 5th annual women's brunch in 2020, but COVID happened. Yeah. So in the midst of from 2016 to 2020, all those 4 years of me doing my annual women's brunch, I start building a reputation for
of
myself as a
course.
speaker,
Yeah.
a leader, a coach. I start hosting monthly workshops for free for the women in our community. I'm getting out there. I'm making a name for myself. I'm starting to get booked on other people's stages, going on podcasts. I'm building my reputation in the
Right.
personal development industry here. Um, but during that time, because I wasn't a business person, I was not making money. I really wasn't making much money from what I was doing. I
Damn.
was, oh, girl, for me to have hundreds of women coming to my event and
Quite literally.
and I'm barely making a profit, I was making the biggest mistakes, overpaying and undercharging
Yep.
in my industry, because I'm
Yep.
like, well, I don't know I'm not professional. I didn't go to school for this. There was
What
so
do
many
I know? Yeah. Yeah.
ideas.
Yeah.
Yeah,
100%.
I'm like,
Yep.
I'm doing the damn thing, but I don't really understand what this is worth to people.
Yeah.
So I'm undercharging. And I also have this big heart. I want to make it accessible to people and all these things. So I'm working as a waitress on the side as I'm building my business. Girl, I'm talking like humbling moments. One year I was uh speaking and performing at Powerhouse Women event,
Yep.
500 women in attendance, and literally the next weekend after that, I'm serving tables to one of the girls who was in the audience.
Wow. That's
Yes.
very humbling.
Very
And
humbling.
And also though, like, I just gotta say this because I think so many people might come across you on social media or come across your story and they might look at it. And what I hear a lot from people is often that it's like, well, it's like you make it look so easy. Like it's like it was effortless. It was like, this all just came to fruition. It's almost like you just like shit out glitter, right? Like that's kind of like what this looks like. And in
Yeah.
reality, it's like what you just said. It's like, no, you literally fucking went after a vision, went after a dream. And even though you weren't super profitable, you still had a different job. You were still making it work. And like there was something inside of you that was still telling you, obviously, to keep going. Eventually, this will be profitable. Eventually, this is going to be a thing. Like, and it's that aspect of like that bitch sometimes is like literally born and made in the grit. It's made in the
Oh, yeah.
moments where you have to fucking grind, where you have to figure it out. And I think a lot of people, when they see people with like the level of success and reputation that you have, that other people on this podcast have, it's almost like this automatic assumption that it's like, well, they didn't have that same grit. They didn't have that same. It's like, no, bitch. Like you're hearing it live from Melanie, everybody right now, y'all, speaking at a 500-person event. And then the next weekend, literally having to be a waitress for somebody who was in the audience. Like, don't come at people who have become that bitch because it literally fucking took everything that oftentimes you're not willing to do to get there. So I just wanted to insert that.
That's facts because the level of relentlessness and sacrifice, like, during that time, probably, I don't know, maybe like my second, yeah, going into my second year of the second annual women's brunch, I separated from my son's dad. I became a single mom. I had to move out and get my own place as a waitress.
Yep.
And I was so broke, Kim. I was literally living off of credit cards because I was unwilling to cancel my annual event. Like, oh, I was like, "We are not canceling this. Like, I will make this money back," you know?
Yeah.
And it took I didn't make it back anytime soon.
Yeah.
But I was like, this is bigger than me. This is a thing. I'm not giving up on it. I had so much conviction to it, but it was hard, man.
Yeah.
Lots of sacrifice, pulling out personal loans at the bank. Like, I was doing fundraisers. I was a hustler, girl. I was managing to, like, influence my I was working at Geisha A Go-Go in Old Town Scottsdale, old sushi spot. I don't know if anybody knows about
Uh-huh.
it, but, I was able to get my managers there to allow me to, like, host fundraisers on weeknights and, like, do
Wow.
these shows there because I knew all these people in the music industry and artists, so I would get these people to come and perform, and, proceeds would, like, go to me for my
Yeah.
event. I was figuring it out, like,
And
creative.
that's what
Yeah,
that bitch does though, Mel. Like that's like the way that I'm saying, like this is where I see it. It's like you just fucking figure it out. Like, and
yeah,
honestly, the truth is, I'm sure there was a part of you that was making something mean something in that moment, right? Credit card debt or taking out personal loans, blah 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 blah. But the reality is, and I know somebody is going to hear that and be so fucking wildly triggered that I just was so nonchalant about that. But like in the same breath, the reality is you still figured it out. You didn't make any of that mean anything because you knew that in the long run, like this was all going to pan out. This was all going to work. This was a risk that you were willing to take, but it was the level of betting on your fucking self here.
yeah,
That's it.
yeah, yeah, and I I absolutely believed in myself. I was like, "I did this on accident. If I
Yeah,
did this on accident, as I'm moving forward on purpose, like, just think about what the fuck I can do."
totally.
You know? So I really believed in myself and I was willing to take those risks. I wanted to create a life of freedom for
Yeah.
myself. I'm like, I have my son. I don't want to go get a regular 9 to 5. Like, I'm passionate about this mission. I can feel it in my soul that this is what I'm supposed to be doing, which is why it's happening for me the way that it is.
Yep.
So I just need to keep going. So I built up my reputation. I built up my brand. I eventually leave the sushi spot because it was super fucking toxic there. And I was like, I need to at least be in a better environment. I need to be in more of an aligned place. I went and got a job as a server at True Food Kitchen. And um, that's where I was working when I was doing the powerhouse and stuff like that. But then Tony Robbins and Dean Graziosi started a new company together called Mastermind.
Yep.
Dean Graziosi lives here in Arizona, and Mastermind is literally right down the street from where I live now. Um,
Okay.
so they were starting this new coaching company together, and they were starting like a what they at the time it was called high impact coaching team,
Yep.
and they had hired a couple people. I had 2 coaches. There was like 3 coaches on the team, but 2 of those coaches were people that I had met in passing at masterminds, or one of the girls came and spoke at my event one year. And so when the team was asking, we're looking for coaches, do you guys have any recommendations or whatever? We're going to do There was like over 800 people who had been submitting for these positions.
Wow.
And 2 of the coaches on the team both were like, "Hey, I know a girl." And it was me. And they didn't even know they didn't know that they both knew me, but he referred me and she referred me, and they were like,
Wow.
"Oh, this is the same referral from 2 of our coaches, so we're going to look into this."
Yeah.
So they reached out to me and they were like, "Hey, yeah, we got these referrals from these coaches. Like, are you interested?" And I'm like, "Am I in? Yeah, I am. Yes, please. So next thing you know, I'm in the interview process for it, and I'm still working at uh True Food Kitchen. I'm still like coaching clients and hosting events and stuff like that. But so I'm doing all of it, right?
Yeah.
Then I will never forget. I did my last interview with them, which was the most grueling, intense, hot seat interview. It was like a group interview. They put us through the ringer, girl. They were really trying to see what we were made of
Yeah.
for real. It felt like coach's boot camp. It was insane. For real. I was
Yeah.
like, this is kind of fucked up. It was serious. Like they weren't just gonna have anybody. They needed to know that you could go
Of
through the fire.
course. Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I I remember I'm at True Food Kitchen. It's at the end of the night. I'm like cleaning. I'm in my apron and stuff. I have my phone in my apron and my phone starts ringing and I look at it and it's the guy who had interviewed us for the last round. He's calling me and I run to the back, like go through the back door. I'm literally standing beside a freaking dumpster in my server apron and I answer the call and he tells me I got the position.
Fuck. Ugh.
Girl, I get off that call and I was standing next to this freaking dumpster in my apron. I just take the deepest breath and I'm like, I am never going to serve another table ever again in my life after this. Like,
Mm.
this is life changing. And it most certainly was. And
Mm.
I literally, 2 weeks later, I'm there at Mastermind with Dean. Tony lives in Florida, so he wasn't around in the beginning with Dean, with the coaching team. And I'm officially a part of a world class coaching team, which to me was like,
Massive.
whoa,
Holy fuck.
yeah,
Yes. Yeah.
yeah.
So,
So,
okay, so then all right, so this is insane. Like, obviously, like, in and of itself, the mere fact that it's like people are recommending you for Tony Robbins and Dean Graziosi, like, come on. Like, anybody on the face of the planet, like, if you live underneath a rock, you don't know who these people are, but it's fucking Tony Robbins. Everybody knows who Tony Robbins is, right?
yeah,
And so it's like you get in this position, you have this life-changing moment. You had that bitch moment after that bitch moment, taking risks, betting on yourself, getting there, like, even the way that you just painted that picture, like sitting next to the dumpster, like genuinely like, holy fuck, this is changing my life. Like, I feel for that version of you so hard. Like, I'm celebrating the fuck out of her so hard
thanks.
now. um, but like, okay, so you get into this space now. Now you're working with these like epic fucking leaders, epic
Yeah.
individuals. And then eventually, somewhere along the lines, everything's are going great, everything's going amazing. What made you then say, I need to leave?
So I was with them for 5 years. And well, first of all, when I first got hired with them, the pandemic hadn't happened yet.
Oh shit,
So
yeah.
we're being prepped and we're being trained for live events.
Oh,
That's
wow. Yes.
yeah. And then the pandemic comes, rocks our whole industry, but
Right.
rocks literally the whole entire world. And now we're all coming together and we're like, how do we do this virtually?
Yeah.
And so that was a whole other thing. I live for live events. That's my jam.
Yeah.
I wasn't prepared to do the virtual thing. It wasn't necessarily what I was super jazzed about, but that's the way the world was going and it was necessary. We legitimately didn't have a choice.
Right.
So we went the virtual route. Tony literally collaborated with Zoom. He's the reason why Zoom expansion got so big for the capacity that Zoom can hold. They had to expand their capacity to support his vision for his events. It was this whole thing.
Wild.
And so next thing you know, they're building the virtual stage and I'm literally coaching people, thousands of people all over the world from the virtual stage on a weekly basis. And
Wow.
I loved it because it was so expansive and it was new. And I was like, I always call that period of my life coach's college because I learned what you just you just can't get that type of experience.
Hell no. Hell
Like,
yes,
yeah.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah, so but as time went on and as online world started becoming the thing, then what we started to coach became, we instead of just coaching, personal development and business and entrepreneurship, we were teaching digital entrepreneurship, online entrepreneurship, which meant then, like, a part of the coaching was I have to teach you how to make a video of yourself selling yourself online.
and that's
And
totally different. I'm sorry, but, like, online selling,
girl,
it's so fucking different than anything else. Like, you want a spiritual awakening? Come online and build a brand.
right? No, legitimately. And so, just over time, to cater to the industry, the curriculum was evolving in a way that just did not light my soul on fire.
Sure,
I'm not passionate about teaching people online funnels. That's not what I signed up for.
sure.
That was not the position that I took on in the beginning,
Yeah,
but that was the demand of the industry, and of course they're going to keep up with that. And so eventually I just found myself in the motions teaching online entrepreneurship, and I didn't that's just not what I wanted to do. So it
totally.
became unfair because here I am in this position, and deep down I'm like, I kind of don't even want to be here anymore because I just
Right,
don't love it,
right.
And there's other people who they love this. They love teaching the sales funnels. They love teaching the digital marketing and all of that, and I'm like, I don't care about none of this. Like, I
Yeah,
really
yeah.
don't.
That well, if it's
And
not your
so
passion, that's not your fucking passion. You can't force that,
no.
you know?
No. Yeah, I'm a people person. Like, I want to help you with your personal breakthroughs so that you can show up powerfully in the world,
Yeah.
not teach you how to upload your video to Instagram and connect it to your Facebook. Like, it became
Yeah,
like that legitimately.
yeah,
And so I just I had to make the decision. I milked it for a long time. I had been feeling like that for over a year and
yeah,
was still staying, and then it just got to the point where I was like, I have to get out of here.
yeah,
Like, this just I gotta do something else. I
yep,
did this, and this just isn't it for me. And the money's great, the exposure's great, the behind the scenes, I always loved being behind the scenes of the greatest in our industry and just seeing what they were doing and stuff like that. But I
yep.
just had to give all of that up. And I was like, and then on top of that, I couldn't fully be all of me. I couldn't fully
Mm,
be all of myself on my own platforms and stuff like that because I was representing Tony and Dean. So,
absolutely, I understand that, yep,
so I'm like, I'm over here doing medicine journeys, ayahuasca, and sitting in mushroom ceremonies because, like, I'm down with that type of stuff. And
me
I can't talk
too.
about these
Yeah,
I can't talk about these things online, and I was just like, I just felt so restricted and
yeah,
unfulfilled, and it was time.
yeah,
So I've I did not renew my contract with them, and I was like, it's time for me to just do me again.
and see that okay, like, again, it's like these that bitch moments, it's like earlier when we talked about you leaving the music career, it's like this is just one of those moments again. That bitch literally always chooses her alignment. Always. Like,
Yeah,
it's that aspect and that undertone of, like, if this is not aligned, if it's feeling sticky, if I'm not serving people to the highest degree, if this doesn't feel fulfilling, like it's my purpose, like this is what I'm here to do in this moment in time, we choose the energetic pathway even if it's hard, even if that means on paper, I mean this had to have been a stellar fucking career. It had to have been a mind-blowing opportunity that people were probably like, holy fuck, can you believe that Melanie has this opportunity, et cetera, et cetera. And in the same breath, it's like that bitch will still drop that if she knows there's something more for her. And so
right.
now you have this brand, you have this reputation. So talk to us a little bit about what you've done now on the heels of all of this. What have you been able to build?
So after that, I really did go through an identity
Of
crisis.
course. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, girl, I was a hot mess. Like, I didn't realize how hard it was going to be for me to figure out who I am without this
Yeah.
now. Like, who am I? What kind of coach am I going to be now that I'm not the Tony Robbins head coach? What am
Yep.
I like? It was really, I didn't think it was going to rock my world as much as it did. And it definitely took me some time to like get back to what really matters to me.
Yep.
But ultimately, I'm like, okay, what really, really matters to me is truly my freedom of expression. That's what
Okay.
actually matters to me. Me being able to exist as authentically as I want to.
Yep.
And yeah, so I was doing an annual women's retreat still, like after my big women's event ended. I started just doing an annual women's retreat. We're coming up on 6 years this year. So I was still
Amazing.
doing that. I was still coaching and stuff like that. But eventually I was like, I want to, I didn't even say I want to do a podcast. I was like, I want to do a series and I want to do it with this person. And so I reached out to her and I was
Yep.
like, I've been getting this nudge. It's been coming up multiple times, and you're the one that I keep thinking about when I'm thinking about doing this. And I told her the idea, and she's like, "Yeah, let's do it. Let's see how it goes." So we committed to a 7 episode series called Humanhood Series,
Love.
and yeah, thank you. And so we did 7 episodes. So fun. People loved it. We loved it. We're like, cool, this was great. Let's do another 7 episodes. Let's do a series two. So we did. We do series two. Let's do that. Cool. Same thing. Loved it. So much fun. It was easy. The partnership was effortless. We were like, should we turn this into a podcast? Yeah, I think we should. I think
Love.
we
Love.
found
Yeah.
our flow. Yeah, I think this feels right. And it's easy. Let's just run it. So then the Humanhood series turned into the Humanhood series podcast. We did not want to call it a podcast in the beginning. That felt like a scary term to attach ourselves to because
Oh,
podcasts are
interesting.
big commitment. They're long-term
They are.
commitments.
They're a big commitment.
Yeah.
It is any one of my clients that's always like, "Hey, like I saw that you started a podcast." Like literally, this just happened last week. It was like, "I saw that you started a podcast. Do you think that that's a strategy I should go with right now?" And I was like, "Absolutely not. This is not the time for this."
It's It requires a lot,
Yep.
especially if you wanna do it well,
Yep.
especially if you wanna be consistent, you know?
Yep.
And so we were like, "Let's do it." So here we are. This week will be 66 episodes deep.
Get it,
We
girl.
launched in January of last year, so just over a year now,
Yep.
we've been actively putting out episodes, and it has been the most liberating,
I love.
fun, connective platform ever.
Yep.
And with that being said, it's not paying my bills right now at all. It's paying for itself and it's bringing money in that we're able to circle back into it, but it's not paying the bills.
Sure.
So, yeah, so I was like, well, I still need to keep coaching,
Of course.
like
Yeah.
that's my thing. So I'm like, okay, what do I feel now? And just reflecting on everything that I saw working for Tony and Dean, like
Yep.
all the people and the coaches that I'd come across, because I'm coaching all these coaches from all over the place, right?
Totally. Yes.
And
Yeah.
feeling into like what was missing in this industry and what was always the gap for these people. And that's when I developed Soul Signature Society
Mm.
and the concept of the soul signature, because our industry was losing that. And there was all of these robots, all of these scripts, all of these just same stuff all over the place.
Yep. Yep, it's
Yeah.
the
So
framework aspect of, like, it's like as if it's like it always boggles my mind how people don't understand this. It's like if there was a pathway to success, we would all purchase the $1997 package that would tell us exactly what to do, how to do it, how to sell, what to do, like the whole fucking thing. So, like anybody that I ever see that's like, buy my scripts, buy my this, I'm like, okay, that's good for somebody who has no idea how to sell and they need to get used to that. Or that's good for somebody who's never created content before. But to actually package that up and make that like this repeatable brand that you can build, that's not fucking real.
Yeah. Yeah. And it just doesn't work anymore.
No.
Like the personal development entrepreneurial industry, like we sold to we made people sick of selling, of being sold to.
Yeah. Yep.
And the high ticket offers and just the way that our industry was going about it, it it's over now. Like there has to be innovation.
A
There
hundred
has to
percent.
be yeah, there just has to be a different level of connection and how you're getting people to buy into you. And that's what you're doing. You're getting them to buy into you.
Yep.
And people were really, really forgetting that. So I created Soul Signature Society, started running that. I ended up doing partnerships with like corporate leadership teams and
Love.
coaching on the back end for stuff like that. So I'm still doing that. I'm still coaching people for Soul Signature Society. But then also the way that life works, I've been doing these parasite cleanses and I ended up developing a business relationship with the parasite cleanse company. And now I'm like, I have a huge partnership with them.
I
And
love that.
now, side quest contract, I'm like the face of their parasite cleanse, other than the founder. And so I go live for them and I talk about the cleanse and I talk about personal development because I do the cleanse 3 times a year just in my personal life.
Sure.
So it's like I'm doing my coaching. Now I've got this big brand partnership that I'm doing. And then I have my podcast. So and then I do my annual women's retreat every year as well. So it's just
You
now
are like
I'm kind of
yeah, but like you're the epitome of what like okay, you're the epitome of a multi-passionate entrepreneur and like
yeah,
how you can have almost like different like avenues, different buckets, different income sources that come in
yeah,
from a variety of different things. And I guarantee that how your energetic body probably works is like that's what it thrives on. It does
yeah,
like your energy thrives on having like I can serve people in this way, I can serve people in this way. I can serve people in this way, a mix of in person, a mix of online. Like you literally are that bitch that has it all. And it has it all according to her standards and her energy and her alignment and what it is that you want and you want to go after. So, okay, so now we're sitting here, right? So this entire story, everybody that's listening, where I want to just ask you a couple of what I say is I go into the that bitch files towards the end of this podcast. It's rapid
okay,
fire 4 questions that
okay,
I just want to hear your immediate response from. I probably will chime in because I can't shut the fuck up. It's never really fast, but like whatever.
okay,
Um so, like, obviously, your entire journey, you have had ups and downs. You've had really hard decisions to make. You've had letdowns. You'd have difficult moments, and you still chose to rise again, figure it the fuck out, put yourself in the arena, and go after more every single time. So, what
yeah.
is one belief that you had to 100% to delete or eradicate to become her?
I'm not educated enough.
I shit you not, girlfriend. I shit you not. I've had 3 guests tell me the exact same belief. It is that like lack of education, lack of value, lack of, oh, I don't have enough experience. Like, why would I be the one? Right. So how did
Yeah.
that belief system, is that what did that present itself for you like imposter syndrome style type of deal?
Um, not necessarily like imposter syndrome just because of my background in performing, I always had a presence and I felt very confident in that.
Sure.
But it limited the business avenues that I was like willing to go down because I'm like, I didn't go to college. I don't know anything about this. And so it would hold me back because I'm like, I don't know anything about that.
Yeah.
I don't have an education in that avenue. So it didn't necessarily feel like imposter syndrome, but it definitely created roadblocks for me.
Okay. Thank you for sharing that. I just find it fascinating that, like, quite literally the last 3 people, they all said the exact same thing. One was like that I was too stupid. One was like that I was never gonna be intelligent enough, and that you just said you didn't know, you weren't educated enough. So that is like a real core. Let's just acknowledge, I only have women come on this podcast. My assumption is that that is probably a belief that many women have collectively, you know?
Yeah. But one thing that I want to say too that really shattered that, the thing that shattered that entirely for me was when I did get hired for Tony and Dean. Because I remember
Mm,
before I got that position, people would always ask me, how'd you get into this? Did you go to college? Do you have a degree? Do you have certifications? Do you have this? I had never been certified for anything. No, no. I always say I was certified by life.
yes. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
The people
yeah.
who go through those training courses ain't never been through what I've been through.
Yep.
So they can't coach you the way that I can. But when I got that job for Tony and Dean, they never asked me, do you have a degree? Did you go to college? Where are your certifications? Where are your trainings at? They never asked me any of that. They put me in the hot seat and they said, this is your scenario. This is the coaching thing. Go. What are you going to do? That's what they
And see,
did.
like, I love that. That's like such an entrepreneurial world mindset. Like, corporate America would very much be like the exact opposite. Like, what the fuck are you guys doing over there? You guys are like the wild, wild west. But in reality, it's like,
Yeah.
no, like, if you have grit, determination, and you want to get really good at something, you're going to figure it the fuck out, whether you have a degree in it or trained in it or not. Like,
Right.
again, that bitch makes it fucking happen.
Yeah.
Melanie is a bitch that makes it fucking happen, you know?
Thanks.
Oh, okay. So, all right, another question here. What is one boundary or one standard that ended up making you money once you became that bitch?
Ooh, one boundary, one standard, uh, that mm, ooh, that's a really good question. One boundary and one standard.
I want you to know
Uh,
everybody takes a moment on this question. Like, quite literally,
yeah,
everybody is like quiet. They're like, wait.
yeah, honestly, I think one boundary and one standard that I always held was, just who I allow to surround myself with as I was evolving and coming up. Because I always surrounded myself with the right people who fueled, supported, and only ever contributed the right energy to my process.
It's such
Like
an
my
important one.
boundaries during that time was like, because I was a very what's the word? Uh generous,
Yes. Yes.
very generous entrepreneur, and I'm like, I'm taking everybody with me. You get a platform and you get a platform and you get to speak at my event and you get to facilitate at my retreat. And so I created a lot of opportunity for people, a lot.
Yep.
And I never regretted a single opportunity that I gave to somebody because I always had the boundary of like, I'm surrounding myself with solid women,
Yes.
solid people that we're going to win together. So my boundaries was more so like there were social boundaries.
Yeah, I hear that for sure. And we know that, right? Like, it's like, I mean,
Mhm.
you surround yourself with a bunch of broke bitches, whether that's mindset broke bitches, financially broke bitch, it doesn't matter, right? You're going to end up being a
Right.
broke bitch. You get
Right.
yourself in an arena with individuals who are playing a different game, who are going after more, who are willing to support you, who are all in on collaboration over competition. You're going to
Yes.
thrive. So that
Yeah.
makes perfect sense. Okay, so what is one rule that you would now go back and teach your younger self, now knowing what you know?
One rule?
One rule or
Um,
one lesson that you would give your younger self, now knowing what you now know?
one rule or one lesson. Um, don't charge people based off of what you think they can afford. Charge people based off of the value that you're giving them. It I learned
Huge
that
one.
way late. I learned that way too late in my like throughout my journey because when I first started, it's like, why am I going broke to help save all your lives? Like
Totally.
like I
Like,
should
who is
be
it really helping here? Everybody but
e
you.
Yeah, like I'm going broke to help all of you guys because I want you to be able to come to my event so bad so that you can get this information that I'm only charging this much just so you can afford to be here. And I'm like sacrificing myself in the process.
Yeah. No,
So,
epic
yeah,
lesson.
I would have definitely, young Mel would have learned that lesson a lot sooner.
Love that. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
last question. So finish this
Okay.
sentence, okay? All it says is, you know that you are that bitch when.
You know that you are that bitch when you have nothing to prove to anybody.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, when you no longer feel the need to prove shit to anyone, that's how you know you're that bitch. Whether it's people on social media, your own family, your friends, people who doubted you, whoever it is, like when you no longer have to prove shit to anybody is when you know you're that bitch.
Fucking love that. Oh my God,
Yeah.
Melanie. That was fantastic. Fantastic way. That was a mic drop moment, y'all, for sure. Thank you so much for being here with me today. Thank you
Thank
so
you for
much for, I
having
know my
me.
listeners are literally eating you up. They just are because they love that bitch energy. They love hearing stories of empowerment and that, like, the mere fact that is like, dude, we've all had to go through the fucking ringer. We've all had to go through the ringer. We became that bitch anyway, right? Where
Yeah.
can my listeners find you on socials to connect with you, to attend your in-person events, to work with you? Where can they reach out to you?
So I'm mostly on Instagram. I'm very active on Instagram. You guys can follow me at it's Melanie Peralta underscore. I also have my website, melanieperalta.com. You guys can go there and go find my retreat and things like that. And then my podcast is Humanhood Series. So on
Oh,
TikTok, on Spotify, on YouTube and Instagram and Facebook, Humanhood Series. You guys can check it out. We got merch. Check out the episodes.
love.
Yeah. So personal
Um,
page, it's Melanie Peralta underscore, and then Humanhood Series is the next big thing.
Amazing. And you guys, you can find all of that information in the show notes. There'll be clickable links so that you can go ahead and directly go follow her because obviously Melanie is wildly spicy, has so much heart, has so much to fucking give. She's such a vibe. Like, I genuinely sit here and I'm like, we could hang out, girlfriend. Like, we are, it
We
is a
could. We
total vibe.
should. We should,
We
by the way.
should.
Wait,
We should.
where do you live? Are you in Arizona?
I am not. No, I know. I
Ah,
know. I'm in Chicago, but the next time I'm in Arizona, I like 100%. I'm going to be like, hey, girlfriend, we should get
yeah.
together.
Hit me up.
Yes.
Hit me up.
So thank you again, Melanie. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And everybody else,
Of course.
everybody that stays tuned for next week because another episode of That Bitch is going to be coming live to you. I hope you guys have a beautiful rest of your week and we'll see you next time.